Hey guys, I just decided to review The Shape of Water because it won a bunch of Oscars, so why not? I actually bet my sister that The Shape of Water is a loose remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and she said, I don't think that's what it is, even though the creature looks almost exactly like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's my understanding that Guillermo del Toro wanted to actually make a movie centering around Abe Sapien from Hellboy, and he didn't get a chance to do that, so he was doing this instead. But then a secondary story came out saying that he had turned down the opportunity to direct a remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and that's why he did this. So you have two conflicting stories going on here, and I can see where both of them could possibly be true. And in case you're unfamiliar, they have been trying to relaunch the Universal Monster verse over again. And just as a refresher, the Universal monsters are, I'm going to read them from my phone so I don't forget any of them. Hunchback of Notre Dame, which really isn't a monster, but that's the first one they did around maybe 1922-ish. Phantom of the Opera, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein's Monster, The Wolfman, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Speaking of which, towards the beginning of this movie, the evil military government dude blatantly says, I found him in the Amazon jungle of South America and brought him back here. That's exactly where The Creature from the Black Lagoon takes place. Just saying. It's cool how they added that the natives worshipped him as a god, because there's certain things that the creature's able to do in the movie that would explain that. This takes place in 1962, and as a period piece, it really gives you that feeling of actually being there. And I also liked how he included some of the negative part of 1962 life with the positive, because sometimes when people do period pieces, they make them very Pleasantville-ish and forget about how America really was. And there's just a very small scene where the main character, Eliza, is watching television, and she goes from seeing the news of black people being sprayed with hoses and the dogs being sicked on black people, and then she changes the channel to a musical where it's like a white actress and she has this cutesy dress on and she's singing and dancing around like everything is just absolutely glorious. The juxtaposition of those two things was a really cool thing to see. The main character, Eliza Esposito, is a mute girl who is an orphan who was found either, I can't recall whether they said by the water or in the water. That factors into her character a lot. The special effects and the creature design in this were excellent. As I said, this creature looks just like the creature from the Black Lagoon. He looks more like the creature from the Black Lagoon than he does Abe Sapien, in my opinion. There's also some FX work done on a character whose fingers were injured and then they become gangrenous and they start to turn black and rot off, and that was very well done. And as well as a scene where a person has an injury to their face and someone else takes their fingers and sticks it through their cheek and just kind of pulls them by their face. That looked so real. Eliza has 3 marks on her neck, and only halfway through the movie I knew what that was gonna end up being. I don't know, maybe it was deliberate, maybe you're meant to know early what those things mean, but I kind of feel like it would have been better to have that reveal completely later in the film, but that's, I mean, neither here nor there. By all accounts, this is a very beautiful film, but most of Guillermo del Toro's movies are very beautifully shot. The story was very engaging. You rooted for her character as well as her friends. She had 2 friends that were very integral into the plot, and you liked them. Some of the more recent straight to Netflix horror movies have failed to make you engaged with a character or make you care about a character enough to see what's going to happen to them. He is able to surpass this. Some people argue about whether you're meant to care about the monster or not. Some people don't want to care about the monster. Some people do like to care about the monster. I feel Guillermo del Toro would be the ideal person to redo Frankenstein's monster, because that is a creature that you are meant to care about. But I think if they're going to redo, I'll get back to that. I'll come back to the Universal monsters in just a second. Let me finish my review on this. Like I was saying, about cinematography, gorgeous. Sets gorgeous, costume design perfect for that time period. Even the cars were perfect for that time period. I could see why this got an Oscar. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The one thing that I would have done differently is I wanted to see more carnage. I wanted to see that monster wreck shop, and we didn't get to see that. The monster really only, well, the monster only kills one person, and I'm like, I wanted to see him go on a rampage. You know, it's kind of what, if you're gonna make a monster movie, you gotta go on a rampage. Had you gone on a rampage bloodbath, they wouldn't have got an Oscar, because the Oscar committee, you know, they're nose in the air, hoity-toity. They're not going to go for that, so of course it's going to get toned down. But as a horror fan, I want to see a monster go on a rampage. Now going back to the Universal Monsters thing, why these Universal Monster movies keep failing when they keep trying to bring them back? They're not being true to their source material, or they're not improving upon it. I'll start with not being true to it. The Mummy, this last Mummy. I don't want to see a pretty lady walking around with writing drawn on her face. No. I want to see a decomposing corpse with bandages wrapped around it. That's the Mummy. If you watch any of the old Mummy movies, that's what makes Mummy scary. And the only modern take on a Mummy that even did that well was the sequence in the Tales from the Dark Side movie. That Mummy was actually scary. That's how the Mummy is supposed to be. If you don't show me a rotting corpse with bandages on it, I don't want to see it. Stop remaking the Mummy if you're not going to do that. Second thing, Frankenstein's monster. Again, he is a reanimated corpse. Stop trying to make him look cute like that last... what was it? Frankenstein Untold, or no, I, Frankenstein. Garbage. Frankenstein is a reanimated corpse of different people sewn together. Make him that. That's all you have to do. But they keep trying to make these Universal Monster movies and not making the monsters monsters anymore. Stop bitching out. If you're gonna make a horror movie, make a horror movie. Make it scary. Let me end my rant. I don't know how I got into the rant. I know how I got into the rant because Guillermo del Toro did the same thing. You pretty much, you retold the story of the creature from the Black Lagoon. You changed a lot of things, so you did tell an original story. You still left out the horror though. So it's like, what's the point? Yes, it's a beautiful movie. I enjoyed watching the movie. There was no monstrous... well, I guess we're meant to feel that the real monster in the movie is the army guy. I get that. Yeah, he's the real monster. I don't want to see that. I want to see a fishman ripping people up. Maybe that's just me. I want to see a fishman fucking people up. I guess I'm lowbrow. Anyways, that's my take on it. But like I always say, just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it, and just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Did you see The Shape of Water? What did you think of it? Do you like the artistic merits of it being soft and making you feel for the creature and feel that the human is the real monster? Or did you want to see that fish man wreck shop? Let me know in the comments.